This is ASOTU Unscripted, and I'm your host, Errol Bomar.
What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to Unscripted. I am your host, Errol Bomar. We're still in the year of the human. We're still here at ASOTUCON 2026, and we're still keeping the energy going up. I'm excited for this next one because, as the song said, reunited, and it feels so good. So please do me a favor in welcoming up our next guest. I'm excited to hear where we are in year 2. Owen, come on up here, brother.
Hello.
Welcome back. I was going to sing, but I'm not a singer, so that's why I just referenced the song.
Yeah.
I didn't sing the song because they don't
want to hear that?
They don't want to hear that.
They don't want to hear that?
Now, I am a singer.
Yes.
Right? So let me just give this disclaimer.
Okay.
I'm a singer. I will sing.
All right.
I just can't sing. So you got to understand you got to know your lane.
So the motive's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for coming back. So we're back. We're reunited.
Yeah, reunited.
It's year 2.
Yes.
I'm excited to hear of all the progress, the excitement, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I think last year I was like 7 months into this business venture, and we've had a heck of a year. It's been awesome, growing like crazy. Really just spent most of 2025 and the first part here of 26 really just getting our message across. Like how can we actually take a media opportunity that's growing every day by the consumer side and actually make it put to work for the dealerships, and that's been the fun part. And I brought on some really smart people over the last year that's kind of helping me and my partners, and we're growing like crazy, so it's been good. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Now I will be remiss, and I want to take some time to back up because we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's somebody out there that goes like, what I don't know what happened last year.
Yeah.
So take some time, tell the people who you are, tell them a little bit more about the venture, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Owen Moon, I'm the CEO and co-founder of DealerStream. Prior to that, I was the CEO of FixedOpsDigital. We sold to Trade Pending in 2023, and a year later started DealerStream, mainly out of a need. We saw that OTT had a lot of really I guess you could say like low quality strategies, really just more of an impression based, kind of a check the box solution. And as consumers have moved to streaming to consume their television content, Hulu, Peacock, Prime Video, Paramount Plus, things like that, we are looking at this as a kind of not a newer opportunity because it's always been there, but the way we're doing it is newer and evolving, because what we want to do is we really want to help dealerships get in front of consumers on high value shows like Landman, Yellowstone, Euphoria, and live sports. It's kind of, I was an agency guy for years prior to starting FixedOpsDigital, and what we ended up finding was, why were we on the 10 p.m. news? Why were we on American Idol on Monday nights? It was because that's where the viewership was. So the viewership's still there. It's just now segmented in a bunch of different publishers and different streaming apps. Yes. And so what we have to do is have a better strategy to try to get in front of those consumers, and that's what we're doing every day. So
I love that. You got to go to where the people are going, right?
Absolutely.
So let me ask you, because one of the things you said, and I love how you said it, how do you go from the check the box mentality, like you mentioned, to now what you're doing with DealerStream with the evolution standpoint? Well, how do you bridge that gap?
Yeah, I think a lot of it just has to be the intent, right? I mean, this solution has, or this media, again, this opportunity has been sort of, built around, low quality inventory, display ads, online video, different things like that. And not to the fault of the publisher or the agencies or the companies that are doing it. It's that the publishers were a little bit behind. In 2020, when everybody got sent home because of the pandemic, everyone was signing up for streaming apps, right?
Yes.
But the publishers didn't have a way to monetize that. And so, 5 years later, they have now figured out, like, hey, if there's eyeballs there, let me get some advertisers and I can actually make it a revenue stream for us. So, as that's evolved, it's allowed us to be more pinpointed on where we reach people. And then I think the other thing is just obviously bringing in different audiences. Everything you hear about these days in automotive is audience this, audience that. And so, you want to make sure that you are utilizing audiences in the correct way with streaming. And then I think the last thing is really, and I think that every good company, whether you're a streaming company, paid search, SEO, social media, I always say, tell them what you're going to do it, and then tell them what you did, right?
Yeah.
And our reporting platform, I will put up against anybody because we're not hiding anything. We want to show everything that we're doing. We want to be totally transparent. And I think when we do that, not only does it give the dealership confidence in what we're doing for them, but it also gives us a chance to optimize, right? It gives us a chance to look at the data and make some tweaks here and there to kind of get more out of their ad dollars. And I think that's those things kind of in conjunction are really what's kind of driving our growth and really kind of elevating us to the kind of the premier company that's out there doing this. And that's that's what I want to be, and that's what I want to do, and that's why we jumped into this space, because I looked at a lot of things after I sold my other company, and just where are some gaps, what are things that we want to fill, and there's a lot of competition in this space, but I think if you do it right and you do it correctly and you work with your dealerships in a certain way, I think they respect that, and they'll continue to work for you, with you. So
absolutely. We talk a lot about in the industry about consumer transparency, consumer trust, and we're all consumers.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just the level of where we're being the consumer or the customer, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And recognizing that and understanding that a lot of those shared values that we, especially like you said, when you're talking to your dealers and you're saying, hey, this is what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and then look, this is what we did.
Yeah.
That conversation, that communication is important because there's a synergy that just kind of continues to flow, right? Mm-hmm. The customer that sees the ad has an expectation when they come into the dealership. The dealer that's buying the ad has an expectation. You know what I mean? So helping that is I think very important to understand that relationship is more of a circle than a straight line.
No, you're 100% right. And what I really love about streaming is that we have 30 seconds to tell our message to a consumer. They say the average adult attention span right now is like 8 seconds.
Right.
So imagine, it's probably even less than that, but I saw that in a report a couple weeks ago. But I would say that if I'm up watching Yellowstone and all of a sudden a bunch of ads pop up, gone are the days where I can just flip to MTV and watch a video, or go to ESPN and check out what's going on with the basketball game. You actually have to leave the Hulu app, go and get into another app, and then when you pop in, there's going to run commercials anyways, right?
Right.
So I would say I've watched, as a consumer, which we just talked about, I've watched more commercials in the last 2 years than I probably watched in the last 10, just because of the nature of how streaming brings, or how CTV, connected television, brings those commercials into the home, right? So they're sitting on their couch, they're watching television, now they start watching the commercials. Well, we're moving beyond price and payment. I think there was something up there today that said like the number 4 reason that somebody was loyal was because of price or financial, right?
Right.
It's got to be more than that, right? It's got to be more than the transactional side of it. If you can make it a personal thing, if you can really build value, and as a dealership, why we're in your community, that we're employing, hundreds of people, we're providing jobs, we're doing all kinds of different things. Subaru's a really big one, right? They really talk about, they really do a lot with community and things like that. Let's get that message out there, and let's do it in a way that is more than just hey, here's a $299 lease payment. They'll get there, right?
Yeah.
They'll get to the website, they'll find the price, they'll look at the cars, they'll get to a payment. But let's figure out other ways that we can bring the rest of the story into play, and that's what we're doing with streaming, and that's what we're doing with video every day. So it's been fun, because I'm an agency guy in my background, in another life, right? So that's what I started, was cut my teeth was in an ad agency for automotive.
Okay.
And we did a ton of commercials back then. I was writing scripts every day, and then everything kind of fell off because everyone was about inventory syndication and getting online and doing paid search and all those are great. But now we're back. Now we're back to, hey, how else can we put a high quality commercial in front of a consumer and get them interested in your brand, maybe before they're interested in buying a car, or maybe before they've settled on a model or a make, that kind of thing. So
spark that attention. And you're so right, because even if you look at the nature of commercials now, how much they've changed, right? And I'm gonna date myself, but you guys can see the little salt and pepper.
We all
in the
got
beard,
a little,
so they can see it. There used to be 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Now, remember Chuck Woolery, 2 and 2? We'll be back into it. It's 4 minutes. You had 4 minutes, and we would take that time. We would go to the fridge, or take the bathroom break or whatever. But it was an expectation, right? Of, okay, I've got 4 minutes. So it was no big deal. Now, one of the things that I've noticed in a lot of those platforms is the countdown.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so now, if you look at it from a psychology standpoint, now I'm waiting. Now it's almost like, wait, I don't want to now I've only got a minute and whatever. I've only got 30
I only got so much time to go.
I only have versus it
that
used to be, you know, where it'd be like, oh no, I have, whatever. I got 4 minutes. It's cool.
I'll get back when I get back.
Exactly, right? And so the reason I bring that up is because I think one of the things that's important is how you grab that attention, what you're mentioning. And like you said, you can't lead with the transaction when you have somebody that's already like, oh, I only have this, you know what I mean? Like I already feel like they're rushed, so to speak. So when you're grabbing their attention, it has to be in a way that's authentic.
It's too much, right? It's too much. But I will say this, even the publishers are getting involved. They're saying, we don't want certain kinds of ads on our platform. Wow. So a lot of these price payment ads that are getting like, you know, injected through like AI or software, they're using Google Voice, voiceovers and stuff like that. Some of the publishers are rejecting it. They're like, no, we want high quality content. We want something that kind of fits in with our, you know, our big brands and, you know, maybe our pharmaceutical ads or whatever, because that's all you really see a lot of times on streaming shows is the Fortune 500s, the Home Depots, the, you know, the pharmaceuticals, any medical stuff, things like that.
Yes.
We're bringing the local dealership into play now. And so, you know, a lot of times they have to look at it a little differently, a little more than how we used to. I mean, we used to have a whole bunch of OEM content that we could pull from.
Yes.
I noticed as I've got it back into this really heavily, not as much of that is available anymore. So now we're doing more local footage. We're bringing in, you know, you're bringing in your people, your sales reps, your finance people, your service people, people that go to church with these consumers. Their kids are on their baseball team or they're you know, they're in youth group together. These are the kind of things that we want to bring to the market because that really makes it a personal one-on-one connection.
Yes.
And that's something that no digital marketing ad can do or a you know, paid search ad can do. I mean, those are basically, hey, I'm ready to look for something. Let me put it into the key, you know, into the search bar. I think they both have a place. We're just getting back to some of the things that really, I think, drove dealership awareness and brand consideration for years that we just got away from. So I love that I'm still here. You know, I'm probably somehow I got old in this industry. So, you know, it's
got
like
wiser.
I got wiser.
You got age.
I got age.
We got to do like the wine, right? You know how when you go to the restaurant and they bring the wine, you're like, oh, we have this vintage.
Yeah. What was the year on that?
Yeah, exactly. And then they're like, oh, I want that one.
Yeah,
that's what we are.
That's what we are.
Yeah, we're vintage. We're age.
Yeah,
we're good.
We'll go with that.
Yes. But let me ask you. So obviously, like you mentioned, last year when we sat down, you were just 7 months into it.
Yeah.
So obviously there's been a lot of opportunity, a lot of time that's passed. What are some big takeaways? What are some things that you've learned? What are some things that you're growing through? What are some things that maybe you've experienced that you either expected or didn't see coming?
Yeah, you know, great questions. I would say that some of the things I've learned is that there was a lot of bad taste in dealers' mouth over OTT and some of the, I guess you could say, legacy providers, people that have been selling this stuff for years. So I had to really kind of, you know, use the opportunity that I had to really talk about why we're different at the beginning. And then I think it's just like any business, though. Like, you know, I wouldn't have made it 26 years in this business by doing it any other way. Yeah. I definitely stand behind my products, right? I stand behind our vision, stand behind what we're doing, and how we're trying to help dealerships be successful. And I think you kind of put those things together, and then you show them through a good reporting platform or some way to like show them what you're actually doing, and it really does make the difference in you know, from a vendor to an actual partner. And obviously, everything I've tried to do in my career is just to be that good partner, really help move the industry forward. And I think that's good. I think. You know, as far as personnel-wise, I think we're learning every day. Our product is getting better every day. We've brought some people on from some very smart organizations and brought them into our organization, and they're making us better. And that's what I love, because I never claim to be the smartest guy out there, and I know I'm not. So I just want to bring good people around me, and then we collaborate. We just had an internal meeting actually last week in Chicago. Spent a lot of time in the boardroom, you know, putting on the whiteboard, all the good stuff, and then we, you know, went and watched a Cubs game. You know, had some fun together. So those things are really what's driving culture in our organization, and I feel like, you know, the best days are ahead of us, and just keep coming back and showing up every day and being being good stewards to you know, the opportunity that we have, and that's what I try to do every day. So
I love that. Well, you folks had a chance to see a reunion. This is year 2. We got to get together and do it again for year 3. We got to see where year 3 takes us.
Why wouldn't we?
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, listen, this has been Unscripted. I'm your host, Errol Bomar. Owen, thanks again for your time. It's great to see you again.
Absolutely.
And I will see you again next year. But right now, we're celebrating the Year of the Human 2026. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to Unscripted. At ASOTU, we're obsessed with uniting people around one big idea, that thriving people are the only path to a thriving and profitable industry. If that resonates with you, then head over to morethancars.com, join our email list, and explore our full list of podcasts.